I'm at the Belton, Grandview, and Kansas City Railroad.
This tourist line is located in Belton, Missouri on a portion of the Frisco's Leaky roof line. The BGKC uses ex-Huron and Eastern GP7 number 102 for power. The unit was originally acquired in the mid-90s and carried the name City of Bad Axe on the H&E. 102 was originally built in 1956 as Chesapeake and Ohio 6142. Also in the excursion train is 6-axle flat car number 1001 with picnic tables. It was originally built in 1953 for the U.S. Army. Passenger car 4365 is a Lackawanna electric multiple unit trailer car built in 1920. It was built as a normal coach but was modified for EMU running a few years later. It was used by Conrail until 1983 when it fell into the ownership of the Smoky Hill Railroad Museum, which I will discuss later. Mopac Caboose 13562 is an international car company CA29 caboose built in 1972 and retired by the UP in 1988. The caboose leads the train east to start the journey towards I-49 on the highlighted section. Back when this was the Leaky roof line, it paralleled this highway down to Harrisonville. The Belton, Grandview, and Kansas City Railroad still has tracks north to the KCS Pittsburgh sub in Grandview, but rarely travels that way. The Leaky roof line continued west from Belton and connected with the present-day BNSF Fort Scott sub and Emporia subdivisions in Olathe. Part of this line is still used to interchange between the two lines. The other brown dashed line also went west to Harrisonville. The busiest and last road the excursion train crosses. It is fitted with safe train equipment including e-bells. Now back to the main yard, which is the Smoky Hill Railroad Museum. The museum began in the 60s and was located in multiple sites across the KC area until landing on this Belton site in 1991, which was perfect for running excursion trains. Some of these photos are from February 2019. The first piece of equipment moved to Belton was Frisco 1632, a 210 built in 1918 by Baldwin. It was intended for Tsarist Russia, but was one of 200 of the Class E never sent due to the Bolshevik Revolution. It and 20 other decapods ended up on the Frisco after briefly operating on the Southern Railway. Eagle Pitcher Mining Company of Oklahoma acquired 1632 and 4 other Frisco decapods in 1951 and used them until 1964. 1632 recently got repainted for the first time in over 20 years. I always thought it was a polar opposite condition compared to 1630 at the Illinois Railway Museum. Behind this decapod is Sunoco Tanker 410 built in 1913 and was used into the 1970s as evident by this car track barcode. Wabash Boxcar 83106 is a 40-foot boxcar possibly dating from the late 1920s to 1950. UP Gondola 65333 was built in 1953 and has a capacity of 1,948 cubic feet. I believe the G5013 is its class. Also surrounding this freight train is a series of track maintenance vehicles, including this one from the U.S. Steel plant in Gary, Indiana. This is instruction car number 80, built in 1926 for the Santa Fe as Buffet Parlor Observation Car 1508 and was later converted to an instruction car. The KCS colors were applied to match the museum's other passenger cars. This is baggage car number 1387. It was built in 1926 by ACF for the Wabash Railroad as car 326. It was upgraded in 1946 to work on the City of St. Louis, which was a joint Wabash-UP train. It became N&W 1387 in 1964 after the Wabash merger, and was donated to the museum in 1971. Although it was never a KCS baggage car, it does look similar to those used by Kansas City Southern. You can even make out the N&W lettering. This Kansas City Southern observation car is named Hospitality. It was built in 1940 by Pullman to run on the Southern Bell. Prior to arriving at Belton, this car and a few others were rented out for use on special trains, including on the tail end of N&W 1218's train in June 1990. This 280 is Okmulgee Northern Railway No. 5, built in 1923 by Alco and was originally bound for Cuba before being sold to an Oklahoma short line. It ended up in Kansas City in the 1950s for industrial use prior to joining the Smoky Hill roster. It too is beginning to get new paint. Wilson Car Line's 2711 is a reefer car built in 1957. It was one of the last reefer cars to have large blocks of ice shoved in its walls from roof hatches. Today's refrigerated cars use a generator to maintain a cold interior temperature. Union Refrigerated Transport 37236 was built in 1948 and was used jointly with the Milwaukee Road. These two reefers were also used into the 70s, as each was given a car track barcode. This wooden reefer probably dates from the 1920s, as cars built afterwards were given steel ends but wooden sides. And this wooden caboose is most likely a Union Pacific CA1 built in 1910. This green diesel is a 1939 Plymouth used in the ACF plant in St. Louis. It is powered by a Detroit Diesel 6-110 engine and can produce up to 300 horsepower. The museum plans to return this to operating condition. This siding here has more MOW equipment. Although passengers are not allowed to ride in the caboose, they are given a tour at the end of the excursion, and they let me go into the caboose to get pictures too.
Here, I think that does the horn.
I'm amazed how the interior looks like it's straight out of 1988. There's even a register book for the crew of the BGKC. Unfortunately, none of the other cars were open for touring the inside of today. Well, that's our show. We hope you enjoyed it. In fact, we hope you enjoyed it so much you'll become a subscriber. If you're already subscribed, thanks for your support. Thanks so much for watching.